So, today we're going to break down a really simple but incredibly powerful science-backed method for turning your wishes into actual reality. It's called the WOOP Method, and honestly, it might just change how you go after your goals, for good.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You set this huge, exciting goal. You're going to get fit, you're going to finish that big project, you're going to learn a new skill, and you start off with this massive burst of motivation. But then, well, life happens. And before you know it, that goal just kind of fades away. So what gives? Why does that happen so often?
Well, for years, we've been told to just think positive, right? Just visualize success and everything will be great. But here's the thing. Research actually shows that pure fantasy, when it's not connected to reality, can make us less likely to do anything. The real secret is building a solid bridge between our dreams and the actual concrete steps needed to make them happen.
And that is where this solution comes in. It's a 4-step strategy called WOOP. And it's designed to do exactly that, to connect our wishes to our actions in a way that's practical, effective, and, actually works.
So what exactly is WOOP? Well, it's an acronym. It stands for Wish, Outcome, Obstacle, and Plan. It's basically a mental strategy that guides your thinking from that big, pie-in-the-sky desire all the way down to a super specific, actionable plan.
Okay, so this visual from the Happywise framework gives us a fantastic roadmap for the whole process. You can see it's kind of split in two. On one side, you're dreaming big with your wish and your outcome. And then on the other side, you're grounding those dreams by figuring out your obstacle and making a plan.
So here they are, the 4 steps. First, you define your wish. Second, you imagine the best possible outcome. Third, and this one is absolutely the key, you identify the main internal obstacle. And finally, you make a very specific plan to get past it. Let's dig into each of these.
All right, so the first half of WOOP, this is all about tapping into that awesome positive energy. It's about getting super clear on what you want and why you want it. This is the fun part. This is the dreaming phase. So first up, we've got W for wish. Now look, this isn't just any old fleeting thought. It needs to be something that's a bit of a challenge, but still totally achievable. And most important of all, it has to be something that is deeply, personally meaningful to you.
According to the framework this is based on, a really powerful wish does a few things. It lines up with the person you want to be. It thinks about the impact it has on others, and it gets you engaged on a much deeper level. And the whole point here is that picking the wrong wish is just a total waste of energy. So getting this first step right is absolutely crucial.
Okay, once you've got your wish locked in, we move to O for outcome. This is where you take a minute and just vividly imagine the absolute best possible result. What does success look like? What does it feel like? Go ahead, let your imagination run wild with this one.
And hey, this isn't just some feel-good fluff. When you visualize the outcome, you're actually kicking off some positive chemistry in your brain. It helps confirm that, yes, this is something you genuinely want, and it gets your emotional and even your physical energies fired up and ready to go.
All right, we've dreamed the dream, now it's time to get real. These next 2 steps, obstacle and plan, this is what separates WOOP from just, positive thinking. This is where the real magic happens, and it's what makes this whole thing so incredibly effective.
The second O stands for obstacle. And honestly, this is the absolute game changer of the whole method. It forces you to stop looking for external excuses and instead ask a much tougher question. What is it inside of me that's holding me back? Is it some nagging belief, a specific fear, maybe a bad habit? The key is to look inward.
And there's a fantastic line in the source material calling this the most important point, because it forces you to figure out exactly where your energy is being wasted. It's about finding that precise spot where you're working against yourself.
This step is just so powerful because it's where everything comes together. By pinpointing that one internal block, that limiting belief or that nagging habit, you find the single biggest leverage point you have to create real, lasting change.
Okay, let's bring it all home with the final step. P is for plan. You've got your wish, you've visualized the outcome, you've pinpointed your main internal obstacle. Now you just need a simple, concrete plan to deal with that obstacle whenever it decides to show up.
And the plan takes a very specific, super simple format. It's an if-then statement. If my internal obstacle arises, then I will perform my concrete action. So, for example, if I feel the urge to procrastinate, then I will work on my project for just 5 minutes. It's simple, it's direct, and it is unbelievably powerful.
What this if-then plan does is it gives you structure and discipline. It actually turns your obstacle from a roadblock into a trigger.
The moment that obstacle appears, it becomes the cue to start your plan. It engages all your energy to move forward instead of getting stuck.
So, that's the whole 4-step process. But why? Why is it so effective? What's the science behind it all? Well, it uses a technique called mental contrasting, and it basically resets your brain for action.
Here's why this works so well. WOOP forces you to contrast that ideal future you want with the real internal obstacles that are here right now. And that contrast, it creates this useful mental tension. And that tension is what actually energizes you to get moving. You're not just dreaming anymore, you're actively problem solving. And by creating that if-then plan, you're essentially automating your response. You're preloading the decision. So when that inevitable obstacle pops up, your brain doesn't have to waste any energy trying to figure out what to do. It already knows the script. Suddenly, the path of least resistance becomes the productive action you wanted to take all along.
And that brings us to the end. So I'll just leave you with this question to put it all into practice. Take a second and think, what is one important wish you have right now? And, more importantly, what is the real internal obstacle that's standing in your way? Figuring that out, that is your very first step to making it a reality.